there, konnichiwa, it's me, your online brother Jaspas Deck, and welcome back to the vlog. In our last episode, it looked like it was quite well received. People wanted to hear more about the history of the new deck order playing cards, and I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to bring you the content that you desire. But before I move on to today's deck and history of the day, did I tell you guys that on the 19th of October is the School of Cardistry V5 launch? Super duper hype! Hype! Don't know what that was. Also, you may realize that today's audio is way better than usual. There's something just so crisp and nice about today's audio, and that's because for once I turned off the air condition, and as such, you know, the background sound it's gone now. It's finally gone. It also means that by the second half of this video, you probably will see me sweating and like this sweat going down the sides of my face. But that's a necessary sacrifice. That's the sacrifice that I will make for your oral pleasure. Oh yeah, you like this audio quality? Sounds good in your ears? Oh yeah, are you using headphones or earphones? Does this sound good? Hot off the heels of the School of Cardistry V1 playing cards, in which we decided to go with more organic looking deck design, we came up with the next deck, the School of Cardistry V2 playing cards, which is this beautiful teal, orange, white on the box. School of Cardistry V2s was designed by Marcus Lim, a Singaporean illustrator, and instead of going with the organic designs that previously I had given him as notes for School of Cardistry V1, we went with a more digital, cleaner look for the School of Cardistry V2. The logo is almost exactly the same. Instead of the previous organic looking ink-like strokes, we're going with a much more digital, cleaner looking design, which is much more modern, much more suitable for today's day and age, in my opinion. On the back of the playing cards, we see the deck design, spirals that go whoop, 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 whoop. A returning motif from the School of Cardistry V1s is this checkerboard design that appears in the background of the card. In the foreground, we see the logo, the School of Cardistry logo, with a banner that goes across like this, and a mandala in the middle. Very, very nice. On the side of the box, we see the new deck order. Obviously, that's a necessary thing. And on the side, it says Emerald Finish. On the bottom of the box, the NDO logo and some copyright. And on the top of the box, you see SOC V2s, an acronym for, obviously, School of Cardistry V2s. Now, one funny fact about the School of Cardistry V2s is that even though it's printed more recently than the School of Cardistry V1s, the prices of the School of Cardistry V2s increased much faster than the School of Cardistry V1s. And the reason for that is that when printing the School of Cardistry V2s, what we decided to do was to print only 2,500 of these decks. And this was during the period when Cardistry was as hot as it was getting. People were joining Cardistry left, right, center. And because of that, the School of Cardistry V2s actually sold out faster than the School of Cardistry V1s. A very peculiar situation, but that's what happened. Now if we take a look at the School of Cardistry V2s in our hands, it looks absolutely beautiful. Look at this teal going with this orange, super beautiful color combination. The white on teal makes the deck look so modern, it looks so fresh in the hands. However, I had one big problem with this deck when it first arrived in my hands, and that was the cellophane. Look at this cellophane! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! And it wasn't just this one specific deck of playing cards that had this cellophane problem. Many of the decks had cellophane problems, and I was really upset about it. In fact, I was so upset about the cellophane issues that this deck became the only deck that we printed with that specific deck printer. Cellophane itself made me decide like, nah, we're not printing with this printer ever again. This cellophane is honestly unacceptable. Now, this is where I would normally just open the cellophane and open up the cards to show you guys what the cards look like inside. However, because the School of Cardistry V2s are so rare that even us, the new deck order, don't really have it in large quantities, I'm not going to do that with this specific deck of playing cards. Instead, I looked through my collection of playing cards. Instead, I looked through my box of leftover playing cards that I use for taking photos, shooting videos with, and managed to find the deck of School of Cardistry V2s that was almost brand new. The cellophane was taken off so that I could do some photography with the deck of playing cards, and other than that, I didn't really use these cards at all. So let's open it up. So the School of Cardistry V2 playing cards comes with two ad cards, one of which talks about our philosophy towards the School of Cardistry, and the other one gives you a coupon code to download the elevator cut tutorial. On the back of the playing cards, it comes with this NDO logo available in orange and teal. I figured that I'd add this to the deck of playing cards because number one, on the opposite sides of the ad cards, we didn't really have anything to tell them. We didn't really have anything that we wanted to say. It's also one of those few opportunities you get to put the logos side by side. The School of Cardistry V2 playing cards, once again, is a non-standard deck of playing cards, much like the School of Cardistry V1 playing cards. This means that there are no values or pips on the faces of the cards, as you can see right here. For the School of Cardistry V2 playing cards, we actually went through a whole ton of different color iterations for the design of the cards. Originally, the deck was supposed to be a two-tone deck like this. I realized that this made the cards look very light, and I didn't think that many people would be willing to give that a try. Instead of that, what I realized is that darker colors seem to be more popular within the Cardistry community at that point of time, and we recolored it to look a bit like this. In fact, this deck design was one of 4 final deck design colors that Loretta and I fought about for a long time. You see the borders in black over here, which gives weight to the card. Loretta was more for a white border that went around the entire card with black lines on the inside as the inside element of the card. We also played with changing the color of the banner to be black instead of white with white text on it, and a combination of white borders with white banner and white borders with black banners. Even after the School of Cardistry V2s was printed, I find myself going back and forth between Loretta's idea of the white border and the current version, which is the black bordered version of the playing cards. You see, while the black borders of the playing cards really do bring emphasis onto the middle of the playing card, like this frame is a frame for this frame, which is a frame for this middle of the playing card, the white borders gave a feeling of that the deck was very light. It felt very, visually it looked really light in the hands. It looked really nice and freeing, whereas the black one feels much more cool and dark and mysterious. So yeah, even after receiving the deck of playing cards, sometimes I found myself thinking like, oh man, I would like that white border version of the School of Cardistry V2s. Or sometimes I found myself thinking like, oh man, I feel like playing with another color schema rather than just this. Everything taken into account, I really love the way the School of Cardistry V2s turned out. The School of Cardistry V2 back design also has been made much simpler than the School of Cardistry V1s, thanks to all the straight lines that appear throughout the entire card. Now, we compare them side by side, you'll notice that School of Cardistry V1s tends to have a much more organic feel, almost as if someone manually used a marker to draw the entire card out. Whereas the SOC V2 looks much more modern, almost as if it was designed on a computer. And that's exactly what happened. If you compare the SOC V1s to SOC V2 logos, the School of Cardistry V2 logos look much cleaner and much more modern. Now, let's take our attentions to the faces of the cards. Looking at the faces of the cards, the first thing you realize is that there is a giant mandala in the middle of the card. Very obvious, very overt. In your eyes, bam, your attention is drawn right to the middle of the cards. On the index corners of the cards is this brilliant orange gigantic triangle with geometric designs suggesting mountains, and in this abstract mountain range night sky there's also pluses in the sky to represent stars. So pretty! Behind the mandala there is this intricate web of lines in the color teal. Super nice. If you compare School of Cardistry V2 to the School of Cardistry V1s side by side, you will notice that there is a slight resemblance. There's this diagonal line and this diagonal shape that goes across like this. Triangle here and this triangle here. This centerpiece and this centerpiece. This design language was part of the cues that I gave to our illustrator, Mr. Marcus Lim, in terms of what I wanted to see on the face of the design. In the School of Cardistry V1 version of the face cards, I told him, make an abstract chord card. In the School of Cardistry V2 version of the playing cards, I told him, I wanted something that reminded the audience of the first version, but took up more space on the card so that we can fully utilize the card to its full potential with all the beautiful colors moving around the card. I also wanted to make sure that the School of Cardistry V2s maximize its colorfulness and its dynamicness while making sure that it did not become too colorful. It didn't become this whole splatter of different colors. One interesting effect of the mandala in the middle of the cards is that because of the 16 prongs that come out of the middle of it, it was very easy to get that strobe-like effect in rotations. As a rule of thumb, the more lines that come out of a radiating middle point, the lesser rotation it would need for the lines to coincide with the previous position of the previous line, specifically in a rotation. However, if you added too many lines to a middle point on a card, the card starts to look just awful and cluttered and ugly in general. So what Marcus Lim did, which I found super duper smart, was that he increased and decreased the height of each spoke to make it look like there's some variance visually when the card is not moving, and when the card is spinning, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. If you look closely at some of the spokes like this one, this one, this one, and this one, they vary from the ones at the 45-degree angles in having less lines. This made it so that the mandala didn't quite look like a copy and paste over and over throughout the entire design, while still being visually similar enough for our eyes to recognize a pattern. Alright, so let's talk about the stock and finish of this deck of playing cards. In terms of the stiffness, these cards were very, very stiff. Can you hear that? I am pretty sure that if you wanted to, you could use one of these cards, toss it at somebody and grievously injure them, because these cards were that stiff. And in terms of their fanability, these cards were actually not very good at fanning. And I'm not sure why that is, because the company that produced this deck of playing cards produced it under the name of Emerald Finish, which during my testing of all the different stocks and finishes that existed on the market, Emerald Finish was actually supposed to be quite okay for fanning. And this was a huge surprise to me, because the Emerald Finish that I tested in different other decks, all of them felt like they could fan not as good as USPCC, but pretty good. Whereas this deck was closer towards the slightly better than an average deck of playing cards level. Later on, I found out that it seemed like the deck of playing cards, the School of Cardistry V2s, was printed in two batches. They printed half first and then half later. Half of the batch of the School of Cardistry V2s fanned perfectly, and that it was amazing and it felt really good in the hands. The other half had a different coating on it, or maybe the machines wasn't warmed up enough, or maybe even aliens came down, or maybe there was a gas leak. Either way, half of the print run seemed to have the right finish, the way it's supposed to feel, really nice, smooth and fanny, and the other print run seemed to be a little bit on the drier side, where it didn't fan quite as well as the first print run. Now, I was really happy with the way this deck turned out, specifically with regards to the way the cards look and the color accuracy of the cards. Heck, even when it comes to the edges of the playing cards, oh, this deck was miles beyond USPCC. But the company's inability to make like super good premium feeling cellophane felt like a huge letdown to me. And the variance in terms of the coating of the cards between batches and maybe perhaps even within the same batch made it so that I couldn't confidently say to you guys like, yeah, this deck is going to be exactly like this, it's going to be exactly so and so. And because of that, we dropped this printing company, and I was super duper sad. I thought I had found a new home to print cards at, but this one experience made me go like, And for a period of time, I actually got really sad about it. I didn't know where to go. I wasn't going to print with USPCC because God knows they can't cut borders properly. I wasn't going to go back to the previous printer because, you know, their quality assurance wasn't up to standards either. I was so sad at that point of time, you'd think that someone in the family died, but no, I just lost my card printer. This sadness though was very short-lived, because for the very next deck of playing cards, I immediately found the card printer that stayed with me up till this very day. Alright guys, so that's all for today's SOC V2 deck review and mini history lesson. If you want to know more history about the School of Cardistry playing cards, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know. Jaspas, I want to know more. I want to get educated. I want to know the history, the legacy of your playing cards, Jaspas. Yeah, leave it in the comment section below. I really want to know what you guys think of this series. Until next time guys, I'm Jaspas. Thank you guys very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.